Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CMtrading. Today is April 5th, 2021, and today is Monday morning. So welcome back, everybody, from the weekend. Now, looking at the highlights of today and following into this week's trading. Last week, as we had the NFP market surge, as March non-farm payroll surged as well. Now, looking at today's major economic events, nothing scheduled for today. So as we look at the major pairs in the currencies, they pretty much are wavering on lighter volume. Now, looking at the indices, the Dow Jones tapers off from its all-time highs, while the NASDAQ is unchanged. In terms of commodities, gold and oil also unchanged. In the stocks, it was Microsoft and Facebook that extended the rally last week. And looking lastly at Bitcoin at resistance, it retraces. Okay, now this is a major level. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So we're going to first take a look at the Eur Usd at a 4-hour chart, and pretty much ultimately this was a bottom for now, 1761, and we did retrace quite significantly, about 600 pips from our top from the beginning of March to the end of March. That's significant. 600 pips for the Eur USD is quite significant for this time of the year, especially. Okay, so with that said, okay, I do believe that we're heading into a new range. Okay, if we look at a daily chart, it'll give us some perspective here. And when we're bouncing off of this area, now this is one of the first times we bounced off. Now I do believe we'll consolidate with this area as we look at the daily chart. I also believe we're going to challenge this 1716 once again. So something to consider. Now, this is where you take a gauge of what was strongest and what was weakest in this correctional move. So if we look at the Aussie USD, it did retrace on a daily chart. Let's take a look at it. Okay, it did retrace from the beginning of March of 78.29 down to 76, which is a 300 pip move, a 200 pip move, really, excuse me, a 200 pip move as it retraced. So this is relatively stronger versus the dollar and relatively to what the euro retraced. Now, looking at the GBP USD, if we look at the same time frame, going from the beginning of March to now, we retraced from 140 down to 138. So this is even stronger than the Aussie dollar. Okay, so gauging it, okay, as the characteristics of all three. Okay, now I have some sort of insight as to, if we're going to be selling off, which one I'm going to look to short sell, or in which one I'm going to buy if we're going to rally. Okay, I would look to buy the GBP USD if we're looking to actually break out higher, and I would look to short sell the Eur USD if we're going to continue selling off. So it's something to consider going into April's trading. Now, looking at gold, we're really just tapering off here at 1725 after this beautiful double bottom we had last month. Okay, now looking at this right now, I believe we're going to trade and continue trading within this range. Upper range is 1738, okay, as we made this correctional move. Now looking at oil, also tapering off and trading within a very tight range. So you might want to keep your hands off in terms of oil until it does hit one of these extremities of 64 or 58, okay, as this is trading sideways in a tight range. Now looking at the Dow Jones, all right, we're tapering off from our highs, only about 30 points here, okay, selling off a little bit here. But ultimately, this is all-time highs, 33,200. Now from the middle of March, okay, where we hit 31,982, we've rallied over 1,000 points again, okay, in the Dow Jones. Okay, so month to month, we're basically basing 1,000 points every month in the Dow Jones going up. Now, looking at the NASDAQ, though, look at that, didn't go much higher. If we look at a daily chart, I would have expected it to be near its all-time highs. Remember, it's the FANG stocks that took us so high. So either this is a delayed move that the NASDAQ is going to just delay its rally, okay, or it's not, okay, and we're going to see a correctional move in the stock. So when I see this is a divergence kind of situation. When I see that the stocks are going higher, but the index is not, okay, so it's not systemic. So if we look at Microsoft, for example, it did hit higher, okay, very close to its all-time highs of 244. If we look at Facebook, also was relatively strong, close to its all-time highs of 300 and just touching it. Okay, but it's not systemic, because if we look at Amazon, it's up but not close to its all-time highs. All right, so this is again where you're taking the relative strength in whatever particular symbol relative to its neighborhood, relative to its very close cousins or very close brothers and sisters. Okay, where I've expected one to do it, I expect the other one to do it, but if it doesn't, then that means that there's a divergence. Now lastly, let's take a look at Bitcoin. As it hit this 60,000, couldn't sustain it, and this is what I said last week, it's going to break down if it doesn't sustain it. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. I do believe we'll continue to trade within a range when it comes to Bitcoin. Okay, if it does break this 56,600-ish level, we could see it go back down to the 52,000. Okay, so something to consider going into this week. This is Fred Razak, and I wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.